Where's the preview? What's going on with the preview? Where's the preview? I'm just kidding. That comment hasn't started yet, but we're getting close, right? By the time this posts, that'll probably have been posted at least once on the channel. I've been looking for items that I know are here somewhere. I found a bunch of stuff that I was able to put up, and I've got my TV in the corner now, so she's all set up, all good to go, and that's kind of fun. And a lot of the knickknacks and stuff I've got put up. I'm not sure where the patio axe went, but the knickknacks I found. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I apologize. We'll just edit that out. Florida in against Boston tonight. So 11 games tonight. It's a busy schedule. For some reason, I included 6 forwards with Florida. I don't know. They're 28, 26, and 12, whereas the Boston Bruins are 40, 17, and 9 and have points in 17 straight. I have to admit, though, Florida coming into town, I got a funny feeling that streak could come to an end tonight. Because it's Florida, and odds are Luongo plays. And I know, Boston fans are going to be like, we own Luongo. I know, but I got a funny feeling that if he plays tonight in Florida, that they could come out and win this. Now, if they go with Montembeault, that throws everything off. On the road, Florida's 12, 14, and 6. At home, Boston's 25, 7, and 3. That's not bad. That's a pretty good home record. In their last 10, Florida's 4, 2, and 4. So they've lost 2 in regulation in their last 10, but they've won 4 out of their last 10. So it depends on how you look at it, right? Their last loss was, of course, an overtime loss. Before that, they had a loss, and before that, they had 2 overtime losses. So, or 3. They've had 4 overtime or shootout losses in their last 5 games. Boston, meanwhile, is 9-0-1 in their last 10. They've won 4 in a row. As I said, they haven't lost in regulation in now 18 games. They've had 17 in a row with a point. Over their last 10 games, Barkov, 9 goals, 7 assists. Huberdeau, 5 goals, 8 assists. Trocheck, 2 goals, 2 assists. Hoffman, 4 goals, 8 assists. McGinn, 2 goals, 3 assists. Borgstrom, 3 goals, 3 assists. Ekblad, 2 goals, 2 assists. And Keith Yandel with a goal and 8 assists rounds things out for Florida. On the Boston side of things, Marchand, 6 goals, 6 assists. Bergeron, 3 goals, 6 assists. Krejci, 4 goals, 10 assists. DeBrusk, 8 goals, 7 assists. He's been fantastic. Chris Wagner's been awesome as well, 4 goals and an assist. Carlo with 4 assists. And Chara probably playing his last season. We've said that before. 1 goal and 2 assists. The interesting thing with Boston is, usually around this time of year, for 2 years in a row actually, I've had the discussion of whether or not Brad Marchand deserves consideration for the Hart Trophy based on where Boston is and how Boston's doing. Now, right now, the interesting thing is the Boston Bruins have 89 points, and they're right up near the top of the league. Well, they're right up near the consolation spot for top in the league. The top spot, of course, belonging to Tampa now and forever, it would appear. But I can't look at any one player in Boston and say he's the MVP. And you can't say Bergeron because when he was out, they had a pretty good record. Can't say Pasternak because while he's been out, they've had a pretty amazing record. And for me, I can't say Marchand because when he's been cold this year, they've still been winning. So I can't find any one person that I look at with Boston and say, yeah, if there's going to be a Hart contender from Boston, it's this guy. It's been a fun ride. Goaltenders, no confirmation for Florida. I would think Luongo. 14, 14, and 4 with an .898 save percentage. As far as I know, Montembeault is still the backup. I haven't seen any news on Reimer. He has 1 overtime loss, .846 save percentage. On the Boston side of things, Tuukka Rask's been confirmed. He's 22, 8, and 5 with a .922 save percentage. That makes Halak the backup. 18, 9, and 4 with a .924 save percentage. Be a fun game. And yes, I'm still fighting something. I don't know what's going on. It's creating really strange dreams, though. Did you know that if Canada gets invaded by Arizona, they're going to play War Drums first? That's what I dreamt last night. And there you go. Here you go. Just a little invaded by Arizona. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, Vancouver. I swear, it's whenever I get sick, it's the weirdest stuff. Vancouver's in against Edmonton tonight. So Vancouver coming off the win last night against Toronto. We'll see if they can carry over any momentum into the game against Edmonton. The Canucks are now 28, 30, and 9, whereas Edmonton is 29, 30, and 7. So the records are very similar considering during the season, I've seen Canuck fans and Oiler fans chirping each other in the comment section. Sorry, guys, we're both in the exact same position. We're going to have to get along. No? I'll move along. On the road, the Canucks are 13, 18, and 5. That's not great. At home, Oilers 14, 15, and 2. Also not great. Over their last 10, Vancouver's 3, 5, and 2. They won their last game. Whereas Edmonton's 5, 3, and 2. And they've won 3 in a row. Vancouver has won 2 out of 3 meetings with Edmonton. I didn't mention Florida's won the one meeting between them and Boston this year. Now, for Vancouver, over their last 10 games, this is something I had to go through and kind of pick and choose, because this, at the time that I did this last night, was not updated for last night's game. Last 10 games, Bo Horvat, 4 goals and an assist. Patterson, whatever you call him right now, he's struggling. 1 goal, 5 assists for him, and I believe it's 7 games without a goal now. Besser, 2 goals, 3 assists. Roussel, 3 goals, 3 assists. Pearson with a goal. Stetcher with 2 assists, and Sautner with 2 assists. Are they overplaying Patterson? Yes, absolutely. Do they have anybody to put in his place? Not really. That's kind of why he ends up getting overplayed. I'm not sure what the solution is, but I will say this. It is not unusual for a rookie to hit the wall at about 50 games into a season. It is not unusual for their production to slow to a crawl at that point. You look at Edmonton, or I'm looking at Edmonton's here. Montreal's over here. Kotkaniemi's a good example for Montreal, where he's sitting because he's slowed down as well. That's the way it works with rookies. It takes a while. The NHL grind is really difficult to get used to. And teams are definitely checking Patterson a lot closer. They're not respecting his wizardry with the puck, and I think there's a book out on him as well. So this is where this wonderful rookie for the Canucks either proves himself or he fades off. And I mean, he's going to be a really good player no matter what, but he has to be able to fight through this. Or instead of being a guy who scores 90, 100 points in a season, he'll be a guy that scores 60. On the Edmonton side of things, Draisaitl, 8 goals, 8 assists in his last 10 games. McDavid, 2 goals, 8 assists. Cassian, 3 goals, 2 assists. Chason with a goal and an assist. Cave, 1 goal, 1 assist. Clefbaum, a goal and an assist. And Darnell Nurse, who has to love working with Ken Hitchcock, a goal and 5 assists. He's been fantastic this year. Hitchcock tapped into something with Nurse. That's one of those success stories we have in Edmonton this year that we're not really talking about. Now, goaltenders, no confirmation here. Demko. Markstrom played last night, and he played well, but Demko's got to start some games. Markstrom's 24, 19, and 8 with a .915 save percentage. Demko's 1-1 with an .873 save percentage. On the Edmonton side, I'd be shocked if it's not Koskinen. He's 19, 15, and 4 with a .911 save percentage, and he has started playing better. Stollers, no record with Edmonton, and a .900 save percentage when he has had to make an appearance for the Oilers. You get the feeling the Oilers are the more optimistic of the two teams, but I don't think the Canucks have necessarily given up either. You look at the celebration last night when they beat Toronto, and yeah, this is a team that clearly believes they've still got a shot. Next up, Colorado in against the Dallas Stars. So are Dallas for real? I'm starting to believe it, but that's usually when they give me a swift kick while I'm down. And this is a great opportunity for them to get some distance between themselves and the Avalanche, one of the teams chasing them. The Avs are 29, 26, and 12. Dallas is 34, 27, and 5. On the road, the Colorado Avalanche are 15, 14, and 6. At home, Dallas is 20, 10, and 2. Last 10 games, Colorado is 6, 3, and 1. They have 1 win. That was their last game, and they had losses before that. Whereas Dallas is 5 and 5, and they've won 3 in a row. Colorado has won both meetings between these teams this year. So we'll see how this one turns out tonight. And if there's any nastiness because of what's on the line here. Scoring over their last 10 games, Landeskog with 3 goals, 8 assists. McKinnon, 5 goals, 4 assists. Rantanen, who's been heating up again, 5 goals, 4 assists. Soderberg, 3 goals, 6 assists. Calvert, 2 goals and an assist. Nemeth with 3 assists. And Barry with a goal and 5 assists. On the Dallas side of things, Tyler Seguin, 3 goals, 3 assists. At the very least, they're getting wins right now, even though their top guys aren't always being their top guys. Jamie Benn, 5 goals. I assume Radulov's going to be back in tonight. We'll see where that goes. Spezza, 2 goals, 2 assists. Como with 4 assists. Dickinson with 3 assists. Klingberg, 2 goals, 6 assists. And Fadoon, one of my favorite guys, 2 assists in their last 10 games. Goaltenders, no confirmation for Colorado. I'd be surprised if it's not Varlamov. He's 19, 16, and 9, 910 save percentage. Grubauer's 10, 8, and 3 with an 897 save percentage. Bishop will be the starter tonight for Dallas. He's 21, 14, and 2 with a 928 save percentage. Hudobin 13, 13, and 3 with a 922 save percentage. Can Bishop start enough games down the stretch so that he gets more consideration for the Vezina? I don't think he's going to get a lot of consideration for the Vezina. I think Fleury's making a late charge. I mean, the wins have been there, the shutouts have been there, but now the save percentage is getting better. And I still think it's Vasilevsky's to lose. I'd be very surprised if Vasilevsky doesn't win it. That being said, this is a big game for Dallas. They can win this one. That would make it 4 wins in a row. And if they can win in regulation, they can really kind of stick it to Colorado and make sure they don't have to worry too much about Colorado being in the rearview mirror. They have 73 points to the Dallas Stars, and they want to make sure that they increase that distance between themselves and the Avalanche, because the Avalanche are one of those teams that can get hot. We saw that early in the year. We don't want to see that top line get hot, especially tonight. What I was seeing on Daily Faceoff was that the first line looks like it's been reunited. We'll see how long that lasts or what Bednar does with the lineup. He does seem to have it kind of in a fluid state, where it'll change even during the game about who's with what line. But yeah, it's an interesting matchup tonight, and I'm going to be curious to see what happens. Next up, okay, Islanders, you went to a shootout against Ottawa. Now you're in Ottawa, and really, honestly, for the Islanders, for me, they kind of need to win this one decisively against the Ottawa Senators. They're 38, 21, and 7. Ottawa's 23, 38, and 6. On the road, the Islanders are 18, 11, and 3. At home, Ottawa's 14, 15, and 4. So again, all the numbers favor the Islanders, but it took till a shootout for them to win against the Ottawa Senators a couple nights ago. Over their last 10, the Islanders are 5, 4, and 1. They won their last game. Over their last 10, Ottawa's 2, 7, and 1. And their last loss, of course, the shootout loss against the New York Islanders. The Islanders have won both meetings between these teams this year. You've got to get your points when you can get them. And you got back-to-backs against Ottawa. You have to get 4 points. Nelson, 4 goals, 4 assists. Lee with 5 goals. Barzal, 1 goal, 3 assists. Bailey, 2 goals, 8 assists. Andrew Ladd, 4 assists in the last 10 games he's played. Pulock, 2 goals, 3 assists. And Leddy with a goal and 2 assists rounds things out for the Islanders. On the Ottawa side of things, Brady Tkachuk, a goal and 5 assists. You know, early in the year, it looked like he was going to be just, right up there for Calder, and he's fallen way off. I still think he has that ability, though. And the nice thing with Brady Tkachuk is that he does enough other things in the game, sort of like his brother, that when he's not scoring, he's still very useful out there, and he's still causing some chaos. Gibbons, 2 goals, 2 assists. Rudolph Balcers with 3 goals in their last 10 games. Pajot, a goal and 2 assists. Duclair, 2 goals, 3 assists. DeMello with an assist. And Chabot with 2 goals, 2 assists to round things out for Ottawa. Goaltenders, no confirmation for the Islanders. Probably Greiss after Leonard had an incident that caused him to get taken out of the last game. He's 20, 11, and 5 with a 927 save percentage. Greiss is 18, 10, and 2 with a 928 save percentage. Doesn't really matter who they go with. They're both pretty solid. On the Ottawa side of things, Nilsson's been confirmed. Anderson, 14, 22, and 4 with a 903 save percentage. Nilsson, in his time with Ottawa, is 8 and 8 with a 910 save percentage. So Anders Nilsson has been much better for Ottawa than he was in Vancouver. But he's playing more like he did in Vancouver early on in his time there. And that could be trouble for the Islanders. Nilsson's capable of stealing some games here. You can tell he's playing for his career. That this is the end of his contract. If he doesn't play well in Ottawa, odds are he probably ends up in Europe. So if he has a really good run down the stretch, he may very well get a contract offer from another team. It's standard. Guys who are fighting for their next contracts usually play pretty darn well at this time of the year. Next up, Montreal, 36, 24, and 7. They're in against the 39, 19, and 8 San Jose Sharks. This is going to be a very interesting meeting because I seem to be one of those who has more faith in the Montreal Canadiens to make the playoffs than some others. and who sees them as being a better team than, again, some others seem to. I look at other power rankings, I'm like, that seems kind of low. But on the road, they're 17, 13, and 3. And at home, San Jose's 21, 5, and 5. So this is a really good test for the Montreal Canadiens. They're 5 and 5 in their last 10. They won their last game. Whereas the San Jose Sharks are 6, 3, and 1 in their last 10. They've won 2 in a row. And San Jose has to be looking at this game tonight and saying, we can get within a point of the Calgary Flames. We can really put some pressure on them with a win tonight. Flames fans, you're all Montreal Canadian fans tonight. That's the goal, because I think that it is official with 5 wins in a row. Vegas has become a team you don't want to play in the first round. It's funny how quickly that turns around, where it goes from, yeah, Vegas is probably an out in the first round to, I think you want to avoid them. I think that's something you just want to stay away from. Anyways, on the Montreal side of things, San Jose has won the only meeting between these teams this year, so Montreal's trying to beat them in San Jose, like San Jose beat them in Montreal. Last 10 games. Dano with 5 assists for Montreal. Tatar with 4 goals, 3 assists. Gallagher, 8 goals. Lots of goals from Brendan Gallagher. Domi, 5 goals, 5 assists. Jordan Wheel, 2 goals. Mate, 3 assists. And Shea Weber with a goal and 3 assists. On the San Jose side of things, Timo Meier, 4 goals, 2 assists. Pavelski, 7 goals, 6 assists. Hurdle, 4 goals, 3 assists. Thornton, 3 goals, 6 assists. Sorensen with 3 goals and an assist. Tim Heed, a goal and 4 assists. And Justin Braun with 2 assists to round things out for San Jose. No confirmation on goaltenders, which means it's going to be Carey Price. It kind of has to be. Although you could play Niemi here since he played in San Jose previously. Price is 28, 19, and 5 with a 917 save percentage. Niemi is 8, 5, and 2 with an 889 save percentage. On the San Jose side of things, I expect Jones. Jones has won 31 games. He's 31, 13, and 5 with an 897 save percentage. Dell, 8, 6, and 3, 892 save percentage. Interesting thing about San Jose, I've been talking about their goaltending all year, and now it's starting to become a talked about issue on games I'm watching, where they'll mention, well, San Jose's goaltending seems to be a little down this year. Yeah, a little bit. And it's weird because I know how good Martin Jones can be. I know he is capable of being a top 10 goaltender in the NHL. Maybe he is saving his best game for the playoffs. Maybe he's going to pull a Jonathan Quick, have a mediocre-looking regular season, and then in the postseason, he suddenly lights it up. Either way, I think San Jose would rather play Minnesota in the first round, no offense to the Minnesota Wild, than Vegas. So that fight for first in the Pacific should be a pretty strong fight between those two teams. No, Vegas isn't going to get into that fight, but they're definitely making it so that Calgary and San Jose don't want to play them. Next up, Columbus. Lurking outside of a playoff spot right now are the Columbus Blue Jackets. Yes, I'm wearing Columbus gear. I'm wearing the cannon, of course. They're in tonight against Pittsburgh. The Penguins, well, a regulation win over Columbus will go a long way to helping Pittsburgh solidify their spot. Of course, it is fun to speculate, well, what if Pittsburgh played Washington in the first round this year? How would that turn out? And then we can all debate that, right? I mean, if Washington and Pittsburgh play again in the playoffs, and if anybody's going to say this is why we need 1 versus 8, it doesn't matter. These teams, they're magnets that just they pull together. It's every time, no matter what, no matter how, it just doesn't matter. You could go 1 versus 16, and somehow your first round matchup would still be Pittsburgh and Washington. It is this undeniable fact that they'll meet every year in the playoffs, it would seem. Now, Columbus can help prevent that if they can beat Pittsburgh in regulation and put some doubt in Pittsburgh's minds. But Columbus has had their struggles lately. The good news is they're 20, 10, and 1 on the road. Pittsburgh's 18, 12, and 2 at home. Over their last 10, Columbus is 5 and 5. They won their last game. Whereas Pittsburgh's 6, 2, and 2, and they've won 2 in a row. Pittsburgh has won both meetings between these teams this year, so Columbus needs to get on the board here. Over their last 10 games, Duchesne, 2 goals, 5 assists. And I've started seeing articles as well about Duchesne being a little bit slow on getting his offense going for Columbus. What's interesting is we're not having the discussion about Mark Stone in Vegas because winning fixes everything. Dzingel, 1 goal, 4 assists. And I'm not saying Stone's having a poor start. I'm just saying Stone has 2 assists in 5 games. I believe Duchesne has 3 points or 5 points and still 4 points in 7 games or something since going to Columbus. It's not great. 3 or 4 points in 7 games, I think, and so that's a subject worthy of discussion because Columbus has fallen out. Panarin 3 goals, 6 assists in their last 10 games. Atkinson 5 goals, 2 assists. Foligno 2 goals, Savard 2 assists, and Werenski with 5 assists rounds things out. On the Pittsburgh side, Crosby just continues. He does not stop. 6 goals, 15 assists, 21 points in their last 10 games. Jared McCann 4 goals, 2 assists. Malkin 7 goals, 3 assists. Kessel 8 assists. He's still waiting on that goal. Aston Reese 1 goal, 4 assists. Patterson 1 goal, 3 assists, and Justin Schultz with a goal and 5 assists in their last 10 games. Goaltenders, Korpisalo's playing, which has some people talking, but I get it because Bobrovsky's played a bunch of games lately, and Korpisalo's numbers aren't that far below Bobrovsky, especially when you look at winning percentage. Bobrovsky 28-21-1 with a .905 save percentage, Korpisalo 9-5-2 and an .897 save percentage, and maybe they feel Korpisalo is a better matchup for Pittsburgh than Bobrovsky. Matt Murray will start tonight for Pittsburgh. He's 21-10-3 with a .914 save percentage. He'll be backed up by Casey DeSmith, who has a 14-11-5 save percentage, or 14-11-5 record with a .914 save percentage. Exactly. And this is a key game, like I said. That being said, it is now time for me to change boards. The Rangers are playing Detroit. Next up, Minnesota. Okay, we'll get into it, sure. Because there are still Rangers and Detroit fans who are going to care. Especially Detroit fans that want to see how well Zadina is going to play down the stretch. He had a goal in his last game. Does he score again tonight? I don't have Zadina on the board because he just has the 1 goal since he came up. We'll see where things go from here and if he ends up being on there before the end of the year. The Rangers are 27-28-11, playing out the string. In against Detroit, doing the same, 23-33-10. I think one topic of interest, how does this affect the run at the draft lottery? Are the Detroit Red Wings going to find themselves in an excellent position for the draft lottery, or are they going to play their way out of it? Probably not going to play their way out of it, are they? On the road, the Rangers are 11-17-3 at home. Detroit is 12-17-3. That's right. This is a somebody's got to win it game. Last 10 games, the Rangers are 3-4-3. They lost their last game, whereas Detroit is 2-5-3 in their last 10. They had an overtime loss in their last game. Detroit has won the only meeting between these teams this year, which means they have one more meeting left after tonight. It's a sexy meeting. Over their last 10 games, Zibanejad, 2 goals, 5 assists. Kreider, 2 goals, 4 assists. And Mesnikov, quietly, 5 goals and 3 assists. Jesper Fast, a goal and 2 assists. Hedl, who was supposed to be benched forever and then was in the last game, so I assume he'll be in tonight as well. 2 assists. Shea, 3 goals, 2 assists. And Shattenkirk with 7 assists. When I say Hedl was supposed to be benched forever, that was a rumor that was out there, was that Coach Quinn had enough of his... it seemed like defensive lapses were what he was upset about, or some lack of intensity or something. Yeah, he can watch from the rafters for all I care kind of thing. And then he's in pretty quick after. So it's the way it works with young kids when you're rebuilding. You've got to give them a chance to play. On the Detroit side of things, Larkin, 4 goals, 6 assists. Vanek, a goal and 3 assists. Nielsen, a goal and 2 assists. Abdelkader with 3 assists. Anthony Matha, 4 goals, 8 assists. So 12 points in his last 10 games. Kronwall, a goal and 3 assists. And Hronik, 6 assists to round things out for Detroit. Goaltenders, Henrik Lundqvist will start tonight. He's 17-17-9, .907 save percentage. Georgiev, 10-11-2, also with a .907 save percentage. Georgiev getting better as the season goes along. On the Detroit side, Howard's playing. He's got a 17-18-5 record, .908 save percentage. Bernier, 6-15-5, .896 save percentage. Howard interests me about in regards to how much is he going to be worth if he's a UFA, if Detroit doesn't keep him. Indications are that Ken Holland would like to keep him as the starter for probably another year or two. And then the question becomes, if they let go of Howard, well, who's the starter next year? Who can Detroit bring in? And if they're unable to bring in like a name goaltender to be their starter, how much further does this rebuild go? Does it go 2 years, 3 years? How long does this take for Detroit to get back into playing meaningful games in March? This time of year, it's normally meaningful games. So there you go. There is something to talk about with this game after all. Next up, Minnesota and Tampa. The Tampa Bay Machine continues to roll. They are at 106 points, which is ridiculous, ludicrous, obscene. And honestly, you might want to put a parental warning on this because it is pretty obscene with Tampa and the way they're playing these games. I don't mean actually obscene. Anyways, they're at home against Minnesota. Minnesota's 32, 27, and 8. On the road, Minnesota's 18, 14, and 2 at home. Tampa's 28, 5, and 2. And lately, they've been reminding you why they just don't lose. Last 10 games, the Minnesota Wild, of course, 5, 2, and 3. They lost back-to-back shootouts against the Nashville Predators. So it's one of those, they got close, they got points, but it would have been nice if they were wins. They got 4 points instead of 2. On the Tampa side, they're 9-1 in their last 10. They've won their last 2. Since the adjustment game against Boston, not a game that I looked at and said, yay, Boston's going to beat Tampa. It was just okay, so we beat them. It doesn't mean we're going to do anything against them in the playoffs. And I mean that. Minnesota did win the meeting these teams had in Minnesota. So I guess there's a chance. And not only that, but Tampa's record against the Central isn't fantastic. So, and yet, Minnesota's going to be up against it tonight. Scorers over their last 10 games. Stahl, 2 goals, 7 assists. Zucker, 3 goals, 2 assists. Parise, 1 goal, 5 assists. Fiala with 3 goals. We'll see if he can score against somebody who's not Nashville. Eric Sinek, 2 goals and an assist. Suter, 1 goal and 4 assists. And Brodin with 3 assists. And yes, I saw that there was a big hug between Fiala and Forsberg after the game. Fiala seemed to be chirping other people too, though. It doesn't matter. That's all done. Forget it. Until the next time they play Nashville. Hopefully in the playoffs, and we'll see how much fun they have then. Palat, 7 assists to lead the board for Tampa. Not lead them in scoring, just the first name I got on the board. Stamkos, 4 goals, 9 assists. Point, 4 goals, 5 assists. Kucherov, 6 goals, 14 assists, making a mockery of the Art Ross. He's just walking his way to it. Cirelli, 2 goals, 4 assists. Hedman, 2 goals, 3 assists. Again, if he really gets going, dear Lord, they could get better. Sergachev, 3 goals and 2 assists. He's another one that, yeah, if he lives up to his... Boy, I tell you. And Sergachev has been playing much better over the last, I'll say about 20 games than he was playing early in the year when the Drouin trade keeps getting looked at. And Montreal fans want to say, oh, yeah, we won that one. I don't think they did. I still think Sergachev, 1 for 1, if I had to choose between Sergachev or Drouin, I'm taking Sergachev. Goaltenders, no confirmation tonight. I'll say Dubnyk for Minnesota because it's a huge game. He's 26, 21, and 6 with a .911 save percentage. Stalock, 6, and 2 with an .896 save percentage. On the Tampa Bay side, Vasilevsky's listed as likely at this point. He's 31, 7, and 4 with a .931 save percentage and is my favorite for the Vezina. Domingue, 19 and 5 with a .908 save percentage. So overall, the numbers favor Tampa. Can Minnesota go in there and get a win tonight? I guess anything is possible. Sure. Yes, absolutely. Buffalo, 30, 28, and 8 in against the 27, 30, and 9 Chicago Blackhawks. The Hawks are fading. Tonight's a chance to turn that around against a struggling Buffalo Sabres and a Buffalo Sabres team that seems to be having problems with their self-confidence right now. During that 10-game winning streak, there was a lot of confidence in themselves and in each other, and right now that seems to be kind of shaken. On the road, they're 11, 18, and 4. At home, Chicago's 14, 13, and 6. Buffalo's 2, 7, and 1 in their last 10. They've lost 2 in a row. Chicago's 4 and 6 in their last 10. They've also lost 2 in a row. Chicago won the other meeting between these teams. This is the second and final meeting of the year, and it's in Chicago. Over their last 10 games, Jeff Skinner, 2 goals, 5 assists. Eichel, 7 goals and 4 assists. Sherry, 3 goals, 3 assists. Mittelstadt, 2 goals. Gergensons, 2 assists. Bogosian, 2 assists. And Montour with a goal and 2 assists for the Sabres. On the Chicago side, Jonathan Taves, 7 goals, 4 assists. DeBrincat, 8 goals, 4 assists. Anisimov, 3 goals, 2 assists. Strome with 3 goals and 7 assists. And Brendan Saad with 3 goals and 3 assists. On the blue line, Duncan Keith, a goal and 9 assists. Maybe he's not done after all. That's what I say when I talk about his numbers. Gustafsson, 2 goals and 11 assists for Chicago. Goaltenders, no confirmation for Buffalo. I would say go with Hutton, honestly. 16, 18, and 4 with a .911 save percentage. Olmark's 14, 10, and 4 with a .907 save percentage. On the Chicago side, Crawford's listed as likely, Ward is 14-11-4 with an .893 save percentage. Crawford 7-15-2 with an .897 save percentage. I understand people being excited when Crawford was coming back from injury, but his record is brutal, and his numbers haven't been great this year either. So I have some questions when it comes to Corey Crawford and how many more miles he has left. Based on the concussions and based on his numbers, I do wonder how many more years it's going to be for Crawford. At the very least, Chicago, going into this summer, should consider getting if Bobrovsky's out there, they might want to at least consider bringing him in. Because even though Crawford's got a high price tag too, so I don't know how you make that work out of the cap. I'm just using that as an example. If they could get a Robin Leonard type project, a guy who's been cast off somewhere else that they can have a reclamation with, sort of like I think that's kind of what they were doing with Cam Ward. I think that's kind of what they were looking at there. Didn't work with Ward, but I'm sure there's going to be somebody else out there they might want to consider. I don't want to say an upgrade in net because it seems cruel to say that about Crawford. But somebody who can fill in with injury in a more capable manner than Ward did, even though Ward's record isn't horrible, especially considering it's the West and all, right? All right, that being said, moving along. Calgary, 41-19-7, and they're going to look to erase the memory of last night's 2-1 loss to Vegas. NHL.com still has them number 3 in the power rankings. I don't see them being that high. Their first line scoring has slowed down. Their goaltending, even though last night Riddick was pretty good, their goaltending over the last few weeks hasn't been great. And there are some concerns. And San Jose's making up ground just by the fact that Calgary's lost a few in a row. Arizona, on the other hand, they're 32-29-5. And Arizona's in that tricky spot where they're still in the race. But they're going to need some help. And not only that, but they really need to beat Calgary tonight. And Calgary's kind of beaten them a lot this year. On the road, Calgary's 21-12-2. At home, Arizona's 15-15-3. Both teams are 7-3 in their last 10. Calgary's lost 3 in a row. Arizona lost their last game. Calgary's won all 3 meetings between these two teams this year. On the scoring side for Calgary, Backlund, 4 goals, 5 assists over their last 10 games. I wanted to look at depth scorers. Bennett, 1 goal, 2 assists. Jankowski, goal and 2 assists. Derek Ryan, 2 goals, 3 assists. If Jankowski and Bennett could get things going and take the pressure off that top line and give teams something else to worry about a little more regularly, that would go a long way to turning things around for Calgary. Lindholm, 2 goals, 6 assists. Anderson, 1 goal, 5 assists. And TJ Brody with 1 goal, 1 assist. On the Arizona side of things, Galchenyuk, 3 goals, 3 assists. He's slowed down, but Arizona has enough scoring to go around, and at the very least, their goaltending's been excellent, and their defense has been pretty solid as well. So Galchenyuk slowing down a bit doesn't really make a huge difference. Panik, 5 assists. Krause, 3 goals, 3 assists. Archibald, 4 goals, 3 assists. Connor Garland with a goal in their last 10 games. Goligoski, 3 assists. And Jacob Chychrun with a goal and 3 assists for Arizona. No confirmation on goaltenders for Calgary. I'll go with Smith because Riddick played last night. Riddick's 22-7-5 with a .911 save percentage. Smith's 19-12-2 with an .895 save percentage. Kemper's been confirmed for tonight because, of course, he has. He's 20-15-5 with a .918 save percentage. Pickard is 0-3 as an Arizona Coyote with a .902 save percentage. So better save percentage, but he's lost all 3 games since he got there. It's a very big game for Calgary, and it's a big game for Arizona as well. If Arizona can strike early, if Arizona can capitalize on the fact Calgary played a really tough physical game last night against Vegas, Arizona could win this one and get themselves not into a playoff position, but keep themselves in the running because a lot of other teams they're chasing are playing tonight. And Calgary, on the other hand, can save themselves from being caught by San Jose with a win tonight, at least temporarily. I have a funny feeling that race is going to go right down to the wire. Next up, apologies. St. Louis in against LA. So the St. Louis Blues coming off of a tremendous come-from-behind victory with 2 goals in 12 seconds last night. They're not going to want that kind of drama tonight. They're going to want to straight out beat the LA Kings, who they've been unable to beat this year.
They're 35, 25, and 6 now. LA is 24, 34, and 8. On the road, the St. Louis Blues are 18, 11, and 4 at home. LA's 13, 16, and 3 over their last 10. St. Louis is 6, 3, and 1, and they won their last game. LA's 1, 6, and 3, and they lost their last game. They've lost 10 out of 11, have those Kings. So they're going to be looking tonight to, well, just, it's a matter of pride at this point, right? There's enough veterans in LA that are going to be pretty ticked off with the way this season has gone that they're going to want to come out and prove themselves. And they've beaten St. Louis both times they've played them. This is the third and final meeting between them. Over their last 10 games, Bozak, 1 goal, 4 assists. Schwartz, 2 goals, 3 assists. Steen with a goal and 2 assists. Sundqvist, goal and 5 assists. Maroon has 2 assists in their last 10 games. Dunn, 2 goals, 2 assists. And Del Zotto with 2 assists. On the LA side, Kopitar, 2 goals, 4 assists. Brown, 4 goals, 2 assists. Leipzig with 2 goals, 3 assists. Jeff Carter with 2 assists. That's part of the reason why I didn't think he was going anywhere at the trade deadline. He hasn't had a very good season. Iafallo, 3 goals and 1 assist. Martinez, a goal and an assist. And Forbert with 1 assist for the LA Kings. I think with Carter, I think it's just he's a name guy in a big money contract. So when you're looking at who's going to be tradable from a team, Carter's a name that you think, yeah, he has some value. He really doesn't. Not anymore. The goaltending side of things, Binnington played last night, so I expect Allen here. He's 17, 16, and 5 with a 901 save percentage. Binnington, 16, 3, and 1 now with a 929 save percentage. So the save percentage drops 4 points, but he gets the win last night. On the LA side, no confirmation, but I would think probably quick. He's 12, 18, and 6. And he has a save percentage of 891, so that save percentage is brutal. That is not very Jonathan Quick-like. Campbell, 7, 11, and 1 with a 927 save percentage. So I do wonder what's going to happen because we saw earlier this year, Cal Peterson's ready to play. So the Kings are going to have a pretty big decision to make with Jonathan Quick this summer, I believe. I think they'll go with Campbell. I think they'll go with Peterson. And it'll be interesting to see what happens with Jonathan Quick. The Kings have a lot of interesting storylines for the rest of this season that have nothing to do with playoffs because they're nowhere near them. But St. Louis is in, and they're trying to prevent themselves from being caught by Dallas or Minnesota. Wins on back-to-back nights. They help a lot. So there you go. You guys are all caught up for tonight's games, all 11. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And hey, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.